Hi, this is Dawn from Lofty Fiber. Today I want to show you a demo of beaming with our new beam assist for the helping hands on the Louet Jane Loom. So shown here, you'll see what our former helping hands look like that helped in threading. You see the base holding the leaf sticks on the loom at the back with the leaf sticks securely held apart at a nice level for threading the heddles. But if you'll notice those white pieces on the diagonal wooden cross pieces, we call those a prop, and they're angled pieces that allow you to attach the base to those, and it holds the warp at the exact right angle to go from the rattle to the back beam for beaming. So that's what we're going to take a look at. And looking at these pieces, you'll see there's the prop. I've put a little label so you could see what I mean. That's that angled piece that snaps right onto those diagonal cross beams. We also provide, if you want a little extra security, a piece of Texov and an anchor peg that you can use or not on your loom. This is the upgraded base to use with this system. You can see the slots with the divider where your leaf sticks fit. A little lip comes over to further help. Those leaf sticks cannot come out when they're at the width of your Jane loom. And these work on any loom. They work with the leaf sticks that come with your loom. And here you notice something else that's optional, but if you're nervous about when you take the helping hands base off of the prop for beaming and put it into threading position, if you accidentally dropped it, it could potentially, the leaf sticks could come out of the base. So if you put this little peg that we provide in those holes, you see one of the leaf sticks with a peg in it, one I did not put in there. They snap in place and they keep the leaf sticks from being able to come out even if you drop it. So that being said, let's start a little demo here. So here I have a warp chain for a cowl, and I'm going to put it's ready for beaming. Well, actually it's ready for slaying in the rattle first. So I'm putting the leaf sticks into the base, snapping both of the bases onto the props. Notice how on the left side I did use that little piece of Texov that I talked about. That's a little piece of extra security. I normally don't use that, but it's an option just in case you feel like it's not tight enough or you're afraid you'll knock it off. So at this point, I just sit here and separate my threads from my cross. It's at a good height for me. I can stand up and do it very easily and quickly. As I'm spreading, if you'll notice those little translucent rattle caps that we have over the rattle, that's another product that we make. And as I'm spreading the warp into this rattle, I slide those over top of the warp ends that I've just put into the slot, because these slots on the Louet rattles are pretty narrow, and it's easy to just slide that over to keep them from popping out. Now we've slayed the warp, so I've picked up the apron bar that's attached to the warp beam with the apron cords attached. I'm going to split this in the middle and show you a method of putting on that doesn't require lashing on. This is actually what's published in the instructions that come with the Jane looms. The Jane looms only come with 2 apron bars, they don't come with 3. So it's a little bit awkward, especially if you don't have a helper, to get those apron cords folded over to put that loop through. So I do that on both sides. And you can do it this way, or you can do it with a 3rd apron rod or tie-up stick and lash on the traditional way. And with wider warps, I might prefer that, but on this narrow warp, this is a quick and easy way to do it. We do carry the wooden tie-up sticks, which are very nice. They're pre-marked with marks to correspond to the apron cords. But here you see me using a metal rod. A wooden tie-up stick would work the same way in this case. So now I have the warp evenly divided between the apron cords, and that's important. Now what you're going to see me do here is, you see that choke tie. I always put a tight choke tie, wrap my finger around it to make sure that I'm not displacing the warp threads in the positions they were wound in. See me bouncing this. This bouncing allows the slack, where from the cross to where it turns on different warping boards and reels, you may have different lengths of excess. So I pulled that such that it was tight against that apron rod by just gently bouncing it. And so now it's started. It's even around that bar, and I'll do it close to a turn, and then I'll start putting in sticks or paper between each layer as normal. I usually put a few more sticks at the beginning to make sure I'm covering up those Texoff cords, because they're a little lumpy. So just sticking the sticks in, trying to get them relatively straight. And notice I am turning that warp beam counterclockwise. That's important on the Jane. If you don't, that ratchet's not going to keep the warp from moving after you tie it on. I'm beaming linen, 32 linen, and I'm not doing it terribly tight. The important thing is that it's even. You shouldn't see any sloppiness in the threads. No threads should look looser than the other, and if it does, come around to the front and do this. I do this frequently with linen. Between my thumb and index finger, like that, I'm taking sections and just chasing out any slack. Because what's going onto the beam needs to be very even. Time for another stick. I do a stick probably about every 3/4 of a round. That may be a bit of overkill, but that's the way I like to do it. And if I run out of sticks, I'll put paper in there, just making sure that the paper comes at least to the full width of your warp ends. Don't let it fall off the edges. So it's gone on nice and smooth, so this won't cause any, you won't have any tension problems in the warp with this method. Now we've gotten the warp wound as far as we need to go. So we're going to move the base. We're going to pull, you'll need to unhook the Texoff if you've put that safety measure on, just clip that off. Take the base off together with the least sticks and put it down into threading position. You just rest it on those side braces of the loom. It fits right over there. Just push it down and you're ready to thread. You'll just need to pull your warp out of the rattle and let it drop down. So now you can go to the front of the loom. Your warp is beamed and you are ready to sit and pull those threads off of the least sticks in threading position and thread your heddles.